Welcome back, everyone. Milk Bucket episode 44. We got me, we got Aaron,
Yes.
and we got Chris.
Hello, chaps.
Basil had to take a flight, last minute thing to Phuket. There was a 2-for-1 deal at his favorite store. We don't need to go in.
Favorite store? What kind of store is that?
Well, look, it's a store with points.
Points?
Yeah,
reward
Qantas
system.
points, penis points, all those
that
kind
kind of
things.
points. Of
Yeah.
course.
It's just one of those stores. They do take Amex, apparently.
They do?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. High class store.
Look, lads, before we get into the fun and the shenanigans, I have an issue.
Oh, yeah?
Last week, I was with a girl, right?
Yep.
And we were getting hot and dirty,
Okay.
The hot and bother was starting. And I just couldn't perform. And I'm she started looking at me like, you're a loser, you shouldn't be alive, like all this crazy shit. And I'm just thinking like, what can I do? How can I fix this relationship with this female,
Have you tried Blue Chew?
Aaron, that's not the right sponsor, all right?
Shit.
Have you tried puppy cases?
Wait, what are puppy cases?
Puppy cases?
Wait, are they, what are they, like biodegradable cases or something like that?
They sure are.
Wait, you're having
No way.
Wait, can you get like pictures of, local artists of like trees or...
I think you can.
What?
This is your lucky day.
Chris, are you trying to tell me that there used to be a 10% discount, but now it's been bumped up to 20%?
Yes, I am.
What the actual fuck?
James, you pitched them with trees.
Hey, there's some pretty trees.
They have better pictures than that.
Just because you like the aircraft one doesn't mean I can't like the trees one, Aaron.
Guys, everyone go check out Puppy Cases. They have a brilliant aircraft case. That's all I'll say.
It's pretty sweet. And they've also got Valentine's Day's options. So if you're like me and can't keep an erection to save your life, buy your girl a puppy case and fingers crossed she'll stay with you.
And all your problems will be solved.
Exactly. Fucking 20% off, link down below. Go hit it up.
It is a nice case. You know why?
Why is that?
Just getting a girl a case in general. Because girls always have the most cracked phones.
Bro, it's actually ridiculous.
It is their personality trait.
I feel like finding a girl without a cracked phone is like finding a leprechaun.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I want to emphasize it, girl. Once you become women, it can get different. And obviously there are blokes who break their phones as well. But the amount of iPhone fucking 10s I've seen with just shattered screens and girls are still pretending like they work. You know what I mean? You got to like be balancing upside down in order for the gyroscope to not flicking around because it got beat up so many times, you know what I mean? Like,
Do you know why?
why is that?
It's because it's iPhone.
Yeah.
And I am an iPhone person. I love iPhone way more than Android. But
That is true.
are
Aaron
so
Aaron
much
is
more
bad
prone.
at tech.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Aaron. I'm with you.
You're with me?
Yeah.
Okay, so Chris is an iPhone boy as well. I know we've had this debate before, but what we don't know is in Fiji, Baz and I spoke to Americans. Now, remember, I said that in America, everyone uses iPhone because iMessage is the primary
Yes.
communication tool. Now, these people agreed with me. I actually think they sent you a Facebook video of them saying they use iMessage. Now, do you remember this?
Well, I before we get into that,
Okay.
I just want to counteract something. Chris, you're a very analytical man. You
Thank
understand the way the world works. Where would you list anecdotes on usefulness of resources? Because I would say an anecdote from 2 fucking pescatarians on a beach in Fiji might be the worst sort of research, especially considering a couple of months ago I hit you with the fucking like 60% of people are using Android, which means only 40% of the fucking people could possibly never use anything else. And just to clarify, you and Basil were saying that no, through our in-depth research,
Yes.
speaking to a few Americans, we now have drawn the conclusion that they only use iMessage, which means you'll never be part of a group chat. Yet Instagram messaging and Facebook messaging was still higher ranked than iMessage on fucking total use in America.
Okay, but we all know...
So Aaron, where's the facts gone?
We all know Instagram Messenger is terrible, first of all, for like a group chat situation. Facebook Messenger clearly takes the lead there. But, so maybe it is an anecdotal experience, but we got to also think that the majority of Americans, I would say, are poor. That not poor, but like maybe they can't afford iPhones. But the ones that
They don't have as much disposable income as
disposable income, thank you. That's the word I was looking for. So that could potentially be the reason that 60% use Android.
Aaron.
But to answer the question, anecdotes of strangers on beaches should be taken as word of God, and all life decisions should be made based on those maybe slightly intoxicated conversations.
Yes, Chris.
Chris, I hate to be the one who told you this because you might be biting your own words, but those two Americans actually said Ronald Reagan was the worst president of all time.
Please, let's not get into politics.
Where are we going with this, Chris?
Okay.
Do we take it as word of God?
I don't think they were Americans.
Also, Aaron,
Yes.
if we were to use anecdotes as anecdotes as evidence, and this might have to get cut out.
Okay.
That's for the editor to decide. If that was the case, then when three boys walk into a ladyboy bar, one would 100% love it so much. One would feel uncomfortable that he kind of liked it, and one would want to kill himself. So, is that to say that should be spread across all men throughout all history?
All right, let's move on from that anecdote because I don't know what you're talking about there. But speaking of Thailand, we should probably address the elephant in the room. So Baz isn't here today. He is camping with someone that a lady,
Well,
which is
yeah, sorry.
Lady or lady boy? We have to clarify here
With
because
a
it's
female.
Baz.
Just
with
saying.
a female.
Yeah.
So my question to you guys is, first of all, what's your thoughts on camping? Second of all, thoughts on camping with a girl?
Camping is a lot of fun, but reality is you got to be about it. If fucking stepping outside and getting your feet dirty is something you're not a fan of, if you're not a fan of ice cold fucking like rivers next to fucking like massive cliffs or some shit, so it's like just a little bit scary and fucking freezing. If you're not a fan of this, don't go camping.
Okay.
It's not built for you. Now apparently this girl's down for it, so it's different.
Okay.
But it is one of those things where it's like if you ever go like going hiking with a girl, you better know she's gone on a hike before. Otherwise, you'll get 15 minutes up and she'll start complaining, I'm hot, my feet hurt, can I have more water? You know what I mean?
And then she'll pass out and then you both die.
Yeah, exactly.
You both die.
Yeah, that's...
I mean, you know what I mean? Like, and not to put, there are plenty of guys who nag out there, but like, just maybe through my own experience, what I've been dealing with fucking females in the past.
Anecdotal.
Exactly, you know? And that's why I'm not going to put it up for the UN and say like females shouldn't be allowed on hiking tracks. But it does, you just have a high percentage of just like nagging while it's going on. And it just doesn't seem like the trip to risk taking a girl there, you know what I mean?
I love it.
You love it.
I love it. But I would only go with a girl if I knew that she was 100% game.
I think,
As in, like,
that's the
there's no
strategy.
tantrums about where do I plug in my hair straightener, where's the toilet, any of this. She has to be 100% down for it. I will dig the hole, but she has to be okay with it.
So Chris, you're quite a fancy man. You're very sophisticated. You like nice things. My question is, when you go camping, is it glamping?
No, I will camp, I will hike and carry my tent,
Okay.
and I will stay in a 5-star hotel. Nothing in between.
Nothing. So it's one way or the other.
There's no seedy motels. I will pitch a tent and camp in the middle of nowhere, or I will stay at wherever.
It's about the intention. If you're going there to have a fucking glamorous time, it better be glamorous. And if you're going there and you're expecting it to be a bit slummy, that's part of it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
See, I feel very emasculated because I'm the only guy here it seems like that doesn't like camping.
But you do have a valid reason.
Not for every holiday though.
Oh yeah.
I think
You
there's a
don't
lot
be
of
one
people who
those
that's the
people.
only holiday that they go on. No, that's not me.
Yeah. Okay.
We're not fucking Irish travelers where we live in caravans going around. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, some people it's a
Caravan.
personality trait.
Don't you know about I don't know if gypsy is a slur, but I think it is a slur for the Irish travelers, but gypsies are also like in fucking Romania and like all those other places and stuff. But like, yeah, traveling around caravans is like a big part of gypsy culture apparently.
I have heard that.
Caravans. Caravan should be illegal.
What?
kind
Please
of
explain
agree.
your thought
I
process.
hate caravans,
What are you
bro.
guys talking about?
Van life? What do you think of van life, Chris?
I'm not about van life. I think
Bro.
van life is for
It's for people who have
There's-
no ambition, bro.
I agree.
people with no scruples who are using it for other purposes that maybe they shouldn't be.
I agree to an extent, especially on the ambition part. I think there are a lot of people who aren't that are using it for reasons that they should be using it for. They aren't necessarily abusing maybe some drugs or anything of that matter. But I think the idea of doing it temporarily, maybe for like a month, would be really cool. So you get to travel around, go beach to beach, all around the coast of Australia or America, wherever you're from.
Aaron, how do you have a family like in Queensland or in Melbourne?
I do.
Okay.
Queensland, yes.
Did you fly there as kids or did you drive?
I drove for like half my childhood.
Right.
Before my family had like the money for flights.
So you should know then that every coastal town between here and Wollongong and here in Newcastle and Newcastle in Queensland is practically the same aside from a few.
Okay, I get that point, but I think more from the beach aspect of like experiencing different beaches, because when you're driving to Queensland, at least from my memory, you're not driving past like glorious beaches or anything. You're going through country towns.
Not until you get to far north Queensland where it
Yeah.
actually gets pretty.
Exactly.
Chris only finds it pretty because he agrees with Pauline Hans's immigration policy, you know?
Please, no
He's
politics on Milk Bucket. No politics
If in
allowed.
doubt, kick him out.
Love it.
Lads, I wanna tell you a joke.
Oh, okay.
Now it might possibly be the worst joke of all time, but I had fun writing.
They're the best ones.
And it was written because I want to introduce a topic, and I thought rather than just going right into politics, as Aaron doesn't
Yep.
like, let's fucking humor everyone by leading into that.
Wait, worst joke of all time, meaning offensive wise?
No. Just very corny and tacky.
Okay,
And
perfect.
you have to know what I'm saying for it to even hit the corny and tacky side. But fuck it.
Let's
Okay,
have
okay.
it. Let's
We
have it.
roll. Okay. A Frenchman, an American, and a Russian walk into a bar. The waiter comes over and asks what they're having. The Frenchman, obviously concerned about his figure, orders a pack of cigarettes and a bottle of champagne.
Naturally.
Naturally. The American said, "Give me your biggest steak cooked in your finest crude oil." When the kitchen said they don't stock crude oil, the American laughed, pointed at the Afghani in the corner and said, "He'll spot me." Now, fighting broke out. You know, there was threats of peacekeeping missions thrown about. You know, finally it came to the Russian. He stood up, he slammed his hand down, and he said, "I'll have Kiev." Now, who here's been looking into Russia invading Ukraine?
Yep.
Because the newest Cold War might happen. Aaron, Kiev is a chicken dish
Thank
and also
you.
the capital of Ukraine.
Perfect. Okay, I was about to say this is getting too geographical for me, and I was feeling uncomfortable.
Oh shit, man, I love it.
But nonetheless, I'm impressed that you came up with this.
I was literally I wrote down in my notes, Russia trying to fuck Ukraine, ? Maybe. And then
Just
I'm like,
expanded from there.
I'm like, all right, how can I actually introduce this without fucking being on NPR or something?
Very
like that?
topical too.
Yeah. Well, the question is, do you guys think it's going to happen? Because I feel like we haven't had a war with like big powers in a long time. And while Russia wasn't what they were during, USSR days, they're still, they got enough nukes to start some fucking big shit going on. So, like, how do you guys think it's all going to play out?
I think it'll simmer down and sort of peter out.
You reckon?
I think Russia's a superpower, but the rest of the world would slap sanctions on them so hard, it would be just a massive headache and not worth it. I don't think it's going to happen.
That's a very formulated answer. I like it.
Yeah. I don't think it would go to a warm war or a hot war, whatever the opposite of the Cold War is. But like, yeah, a sanction kind of thing, maybe it could happen. But it's bad, but it's kind of interesting, isn't it? Like, remember when Kim Jong-un was threatening to fucking bomb everyone a couple of years back and the stocks dropped? And I'm like, nothing's going to fucking happen.
Stocks dropped.
I mean, like every 2 weeks.
Yeah. I think it was start of 2020. It was like one of the
yeah.
fucking other, the start of 2020 where there was like 17 bad things happening at once,
Yeah.
So for people like me who only read business news, can you update everyone on the situation?
Well, to be honest with you, I've heard that this is happening and I don't exactly know the real reason. Maybe Chris would know, I'm not sure. But I think that Russia has constantly tried to push its boundaries because after the USSR collapsed, after the Cold War, like they lost a lot of... Like Russia's the biggest country, but a lot of it is fucking useless. It's like, Siberian tundra.
Okay.
So most of the population, in the same way Australia, most of the population is around the East Coast.
Exactly.
Most of the population is around the European side of Russia because it extends from Europe to Asia.
Makes sense.
So I'm guessing, but potentially they're looking at like, we want our old fucking shit back. But maybe Chris, you have I'm not
Well,
sure.
exactly. That's been kind of the narrative for decades, I think. And I think occasionally tensions spark up and there's always a risk. And I think at the moment tensions are high and people are getting nervous. But not an expert, don't think it'll eventuate in anything.
It is interesting when you hear about the new... Okay, I'm curious. If you had to guess, what is the next hot war we'll have? So like actual fighting.
Yeah, so no, not like cyber war.
Yeah, not like an economic war, like sanctions and stuff like what happened in the Cold War.
Yeah, okay.
I think China might be involved.
I can imagine China and US backing their sides. Like, so China's funneling money to some US, kind of like the US and Russia back in the day where they're like funding different wars. But the thing is, US just likes being a part of things, don't they?
That makes me think that
freedom.
North Korea might be involved.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine that.
But does North Korea actually have like a proper? I know they have an army and stuff, but relative to other countries, they've got like shit all, right? They've got zero population.
They've got nukes, but yeah, they wouldn't win a war without help from China or Russia or like a big
Exactly.
power.
Well, let me tell you what the former Alexander Downer, who I met once, told us, who was the former foreign minister of Australia. He said that he was on a jet once with Ban Ki-moon, who used to be the head of the UN, and a few other American consulates on this plane. And they were saying casually after a few drinks, listen, if North Korea really posed any kind of real threat to America, would turn that place into a car park.
Yeah.
100%.
So there's no real risk.
Also, I want to say the fact that you know this person just shows like your upbringing and your privilege.
No, I just happened to be at a conference when he was one of the, one of the guest
so
speakers.
this isn't like a family friend that you just got on a jet with.
This isn't like the Queen.
No, it's not like the governor.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. Wait, don't you have like a boat with like 4 bedrooms?
Yeah, well, apparently, yeah, I've heard that I do.
Aaron's just hating because he's new money.
I'm
His
not
dad
new
just
money.
bought a boat, so now he's like, oh, look at this old money flexing his fucking contact.
Bro, he's got more bedrooms.
I
in
know
his boat.
Chance the Rapper.
Aaron who?
Aaron who? Oh, man.
I was about to say your last name. Thank
Yeah,
you for
please,
myself.
Please don't dox
Well,
me.
talking about your last name,
Yep.
we found out you're Irish this weekend.
Yeah, which is interesting. So
I'm so sorry.
yeah, same. I was very disappointed. James renamed my name on the group chat, on the Facebook group chat. What was it?
It's a diddly dee potatoes.
Exactly.
And
The
I
most
can
Irish
say that
thing in the world.
because I come from an Irish stock, so fuck you all.
Here's the thing. I knew I had Irish blood in me, but my last name sounds French in itself, so I always thought I was a bit more classy and sophisticated. Nothing wrong with Irish people, but wine has been growing on me recently, and baguettes.
Aaron,
Gotta love a
great.
baguette.
there's nothing worse than a self-hating Irishman. Haven't
Yeah,
we
well,
been through enough? 600 years of
Can I just
oppression by
ask,
the
is
English?
there such a thing as a non-self-loathing Irishman?
Who is happy
fucking
that they
yeah,
burn?
it's called an English-loathing Irishman. Fuck the Queen. That's what I say.
Oh, jeez.
That's what they say.
That's what they say.
That's what a lot of people say, Chris. I mean, a lot of Asia, fucking Ireland, most of the Europe, you know what I mean?
Ungrateful.
Here's the thing with Ireland. It's terrible weather. First of all, it's a beautiful place. I've never been. I've just seen pictures, so I don't actually know for sure. I'm assuming. But the main thing that gets in my head, it's they're very prone to burning in the sun. And while like that's not going to change me being French or Irish and how much I burn, it's just I believe that if I know I'm Irish, I'm going to burn more than I already burned, which makes no sense.
But Aaron, you know that the French who live near the Alps probably burn easy in the sun as well.
Yeah, but what if they're from southern France?
Yeah, sure.
What if I'm from southern France?
I know. What if you're Monegasque? What's the Monacan, like from people from Monaco? What's the ethnicity they call?
Oh,
Monegascan or something?
good question.
I can't remember. There's an F1 driver who's from Monaco, and they say it, and I'm so confused by like when I first heard it. I'm like,
Just wealthy. Just
yeah, that's what it
wealthy.
is.
Yeah.
Wealthy, don't like paying tax.
Exactly.
Welcome to Monaco. To be
good
honest.
businessman and wealthy. That's
Bro,
what.
those
yeah.
properties there are fucked. It's like 40 million.
Southern France.
No, in Monaco. Monaco is like its own. I don't know if you call
Little
it an
principality,
enclave.
maybe.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, they're essentially just rich French people who fucking wanted to live by the beach. Sorry to the Monacan. I think there is actually a viewer from Monaco, so I'm sorry to.
We've got one viewer from Monaco.
Yeah.
Is he in the Discord?
I don't know.
We are not dissing Monaco. Monaco is
No.
paradise. It's perfect.
I will
As a
say-
country, it's perfect.
I
We
will
love
say
you.
their F1 race has been shite because you can't overtake anyone because it's a fucking street race. But yeah, looks pretty fucking lovely. I'm not gonna lie. The great story of the great Kimi Räikkönen, who's a Finnish, I'm pretty sure he's Finnish, F1 driver,
Yeah.
who crashed in Monaco, and he got out of his car, started walking back. Everyone's thinking he's walking back to the pits, you know, to like debrief with the crew and stuff. He ends up hopping a few benches, and like, you know, the cameras are kind of following him, and the announcers are talking. They're like, "Oh, and Kimi Räikkönen, he would be sad with that performance. Just going back to the pits right now." And then you see he's like deviating, like, "Oh, where's he going?" And then you see a yacht, and he essentially just hops the turntable, gets on the yacht with a bunch of his mates, and just sits there drinking champagne while the race is still going.
That's
What a legend.
awesome.
Bro,
What?
it's the
Legend.
biggest badass the fucking sport's ever seen. And I think he retired this year, so it was a bit sad. But fucking that was months ago, so shout out to you, Kimmy.
That sounds awesome. Great entertainment.
100%.
Yeah.
No, it was pretty fucking baller, I'm not gonna lie. So I want to know, what do we all think about stocks crashing? I was hurting this
Oh,
week.
man.
I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not phased by it too much.
Oh, must be nice.
That's the fucking
No, only because like my investment strategy is a 30-year thing, so I'm not worried about ups and downs. in the
Also,
short term.
Chris gets involved in mutual funds, stuff that we can't access.
Anyone can
Man
access
has
a
balls,
mutual
bro.
fund.
Needs $1 million. Just
Chris
to
is
enter.
like, Mr.
Get outta
JP, are we
here."
all right? He's like, yeah, it's fine, Chris. don't worry."
JP, Mr. Morgan. So here's the thing. I was telling Chris just before, not all of my investment portfolio is in stocks. It's mixed around a variety of things, cryptocurrency, property.
Fun fact, Aaron actually has a net worth of 250,000, and that's after the crash.
So here's the thing.
Thoughts, Aaron?
I'm gonna guess. I haven't confirmed yet. I'll confirm in a few days on the 1st. But I think my net worth this month will have gone down by around $40,000.
Real.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Jesus.
Hang in there, it'll go back up.
I know it'll
Just
go
hang
back
in
up.
there.
And the
But
craziest
Don't worry
thing,
about it.
percentage-wise, it only dropped 1%. So that really goes to show. No, it's a bit crazy though, eh? Like
Yeah.
out of nowhere.
I'm kind of happy as well though, because since it's dropping this much, and our investment horizon is so long, it does give us opportunities to buy in at a low price. Do I have cash right now to buy in? No.
That's
but
my
the
issue as well.
opportunities are there. which
It's
is
This is the ideal time to go on a shopping spree.
Exactly.
It's almost worse for me because I got to save money because we're moving into the boys' house, and I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake.
We are.
It's like
moving into
seeing a
Boise.
sale and having no money to buy the thing on the sale. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Plus, there's a bunch of things we're gonna need money for in the boys' house. Chris will know. He's moved countless times apparently.
Yeah, countless.
You need furniture. You need housewares. You need a bunch of things apparently that I was not prepared for. So
Yeah.
got to start saving. It seems.
I'm about
And-
to feel the pain as well.
I know
I've got
you
to start
are,
from
yeah.
scratch.
You are. Well, I mean, surely you can keep some stuff around here, or do you not want to keep any of it?
I don't know that. Oh, that lamp there.
That one
I
lamp.
love that lamp.
Yeah.
That's coming with me. That's
It's
it.
great mood lighting. I'm not going to lie. That lamp is fucking
it is
banging.
a vibe. It is a vibe.
And
Yeah.
this sofa thing is gonna go with you probably.
I mean, that's only if you don't want it. This is
Yeah.
your sofa.
Oh yeah, but if you get an unfurnished place, I'm happy to This is
donate.
this is for the boys.
Donate to the poor
This,
people.
this is like the milk bucket sofa now. I
Chris is
feel.
going to write it off. Couch given minus $1,000.
Yeah. Chris is a very sophisticated guy. I can't wait to go to his new place.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be
It's going
nothing
to be
like this place.
Open door policy, in and out.
It's going to be interesting seeing what the place looks like without Basil's influence.
Yeah.
Because I feel like
Oh really?
Basil brings vibes, he brings energy and stuff, but he also brings mess and other things like that. And I'm going to be interested to see, like, I reckon we'll walk into the floorboards, you can, like, check your fucking hair or something in them because they'll be, like, spotless. You know
Well,
what I mean?
I've never lived alone, so we'll see.
I feel like
Not
you'll
for a long
take-
term.
I feel like you'll take that almost as, like, not a challenge, but, like, you'll take it as a point of pride. Like, because there's no one else that you could, like, blame on, like, being messy or something like that. So you're almost
Oh
like, I'm
yeah,
going to
there's
make this
nowhere to hide.
immaculate.
Yeah. That's the idea. Let's see if it happens.
Exactly.
I would love James to describe the TV in front of us. So, for context, we're sitting almost in a U. We've got like 3 couches, 2 on either side. Me and Chris are facing each other with James next to us. Now, James, what are you facing right now?
So I want to take you back to 2005, a time of mystery where televisions still hadn't got to the flat screen we know today.
Oh,
2005 is generous. I'm just gonna say.
So imagine a boxy TV, probably about 40 inches in size, with huge bevels, almost half the size of the actual TV themselves, sitting on the floor. No cable management done ever.
Ever.
No coffee table. And with a speaker that sounds like you're hearing it through someone else's wall. Like, that's what we're looking at.
I love the description. That was perfect. That was so good.
So in summary, we have a satire as television.
Yeah, I just love that's on the ground. It's not sitting on any table or anything. That's the best part.
It's a statement.
It's so unlike you, Chris. I feel.
Look, this is a talking point. This is a conversation
It is.
starter. People come into our apartment. Wow, love the view. Great apartment. What's that?
Yeah. What the fuck? Is
Immediately, everyone's attention is drawn to that.
that? Yeah.
It's like the technological version of like a bear statue or something. Like, what happened there? Oh, there's a giraffe in the corner. Oh, yeah, I killed it in Africa. Some people are going to hate you. Some people are going to love you. You know what I mean?
I'm going to start calling that art.
Chris, what is your thoughts on modern art?
Oh no.
Because Baz loves modern art and I despise it. And I'm curious to see, like, where do you sit on the debate?
As a investor or as an art appreciator?
Art
which I'm
appreciator.
not.
Art appreciator.
As an art appreciator, I don't think I'm sophisticated enough to appreciate modern art.
Oh, I like that. He clarified, like he put that out there.
I don't
where
think
he's
I'm
like, oh, you
refined
have
enough.
to be really, really refined
Yeah.
to like it.
I
gotta
don't like it because I feel like Chris is trying not to burn bridges with his modern art fucking compatriots, you know?
Dude, you know Chris is on the board of like multiple museums.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for shouting that out.
The New York Museum of Modern Art, fucking art gallery of modern art, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just think the thing that I struggle with is when Baz, like, you know, when Baz gets in an argument.
Yes, I do.
He never can. It's so funny. Me and Chris have conversations, and we have so much shared experience through fucking knowing Basil that we're like, Chris is like, you know when he does that? I'm like, yeah, I do. Like, what the fuck? I thought I only know that. But one of the things he does is he digs his heel in, and I definitely do the same thing. So it's not like I can talk. But the funny thing about that one was he's like, there's no difference in the level of skill from taping a banana to a wall than painting.
I remember. I was on that episode.
Yeah, then
I remember that.
Then painting some like intricate thing with so much detail that you could never possibly like comprehend. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Do you want to change your perspective at all around modern art now?
I don't want to change my perspective. I'll
got the
call
friends
myself
on the board.
ignorant.
It's friends on the board.
I've got a question.
Yep.
Let's say you've got a lovely wife. You have a great life with each other. She gets pregnant, and it becomes quickly evident that this child is fucking like enormous. It's going to be like an elite athlete, but it's one of those ones where your wife looks like fucking Octomom because the kid is fucking huge, right? My question is, do you think it's worth having like an elite
I wouldn't
athlete
leave
kid?
her.
No, not
Oh,
leave,
sorry.
not leave, not leave.
That's
not
where
leave.
it sounded like it was going.
No.
Yeah.
My question is, do you think it'd be worth having like an elite athlete kid, like LeBron James level, where he's guaranteed success in any sport he decides to play? So he could potentially be making, $40 million a year, but your wife is fucking destroyed afterwards.
You can get surgery to fix
No.
that, I've heard.
You don't think it's
Not
you'd
worth.
rather have average and
I don't
it's
want
fine.
an elite athlete as a child.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never actually thought about it, so I don't know if I want it or not, but I would love my kid to do whatever he likes as long as he makes money.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay.
It's like, oh, you're into art. Okay, let's get you into business school so we can find out the correct way of selling the most art and making the most
Exactly.
money. Let's
Yeah.
own an art gallery. You know what I mean? Let's guide you in this direction.
Yeah. If he dreams to be a professional player, he can be a professional player as long as it's realistic.
But it's one of those things that like you have the potential just like jumpstart in life where, you know what I mean? It's like characteristics don't necessarily make life like guaranteed for you. Being 6'4" and intelligent and good looking, that doesn't mean you won't get depression. That doesn't mean you won't feel unfulfilled in your life. However, it's kind of like you're starting from 20 meters in front of another kid who's 5'5" and not that smart. Do you know what I'm saying? And I feel like, I don't know, when you look at like being a parent, you want to kind of give your kid the biggest head start he can have so he's just happy in life. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, imagine how gutted you feel if your kid was like super unpopular, getting bullied all the time, wasn't doing well in school, and you were literally like, fuck, I'm reaching to give you compliments here. You know what I mean?
That would be so hard. I imagine your kid getting bullied.
Yeah.
Not doing well at school. I didn't do well at school in primary school, in high school. I did well at uni, but yeah. all
I
of
wouldn't be
schooling.
too worried about it.
You wouldn't? Oh, it's just hard.
Chris has got
They'll
the
go
family
into
money.
themselves.
Yeah, you got the family money.
Chris is like, it's fine. I'll give
They'll
you
get
40
on the
bucks.
right pathway.
Your
don't
parents
worry.
own the school.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know it would be hard seeing your kid fail, and I'm not mentally prepared for that, and that's how I know I'm not ready to be a father.
There are
There's also many other
significant
reasons.
failures and insignificant failures.
Yeah.
Like failing a test in primary school, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, not a big deal.
Failing your final exam at university is slightly more significant.
It is, but I would say, you guys have probably noticed this, but there are plenty of people who are geniuses in primary and high school, maybe more so primary school, but they like fall off and then they start failing courses at university just because they don't have that motivation in themselves. Like they were duxing schools. I know someone firsthand, this is anecdotal. We love our anecdotes this episode.
We do.
But he was a duxer primary school. He was the smartest guy I knew. He did really well in high school. He went to a private school. He did really well. And then he just can't finish a university degree. He keeps changing. He just can't commit.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I haven't seen a whole lot of that, but I do, because I think like a lot of times people get lucky with pure intelligence. It can get you a certain like degree, but there's always that point in time. Like I grew up, luckily, like I have like a pretty good memory for things, and I'm like, I've never done an IQ test, but I'm sure I'm above. How far above, I have no idea. But I was able to blitz through younger years and early high school with very little preparation. But you get to that point where you're like, I can't do this. Like, this isn't enough anymore to not study and expect to do well. And I got fucking slapped in the face before high school. Like, and I really had to turn my shit around. So I was almost that story.
Well, I knew someone at primary school. He was brilliant. He was stuck to the school, no effort, and he was top of the class all the time, which then led him into a selective school for high school. And he wasn't brilliant anymore. He was just average.
Yeah.
And he couldn't cope, and he ended up having a complete breakdown. He's still in therapy about it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, yeah, that's
Not doing anything with his life. Poor man.
I think it's all about like the culture in it. Like, because I'm curious what you think about this. Would you rather someone who's very successful from an outsider's perspective?
Yep.
So they're making mad money. They're working at a prestigious firm, but they don't enjoy their life.
It reminds me of investment banking, what you're describing right now.
Exactly.
Everyone in investment banking, they're top dogs. You can't really be there as a career unless you go further and you go private equity.
Yeah.
But you're making big money, you have zero life. So
Yeah, but most people like sacrifice their life for a few years just to get a good foot in the door or a good amount of like a good nest egg, and then they move on to something else.
Yeah. But the problem is in investment banking in that world, you move on to private equity and your life isn't that much better. You have significantly better work-life balance, but you're still working 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
It's still not good.
Well,
And also like the pressure of this is so high.
Yeah.
Because it's from what I understand at least, it's kind of like being a coach in the NBA, where it's like your employment is directly dependent on your success. So if you don't do well at a big PE firm, am I right in assuming that like you're not going to last very long?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's like, even though you might work less hours than a fucking investment banker who's fucking grinding 16-hour days, it's like the pressure is so immense.
there's no stability at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no stability.
And so my question is it better to have a kid who does that, who like, when you're telling your fucking friends or parents or something like that, it's like, oh no, he's having success, but you have a feeling that they're not enjoying their life? Or is it better to have someone who's a fucking painter making 40K a year, but they love every second of their life?
Are you saying from a parent's perspective?
Yes.
So here's the thing. I relate a little bit because I always felt so bad. So in primary school, especially in high school as well, I didn't perform well, and I always hated it because all my friends were super smart. So my parents talked to other people's parents, and like they had to be like, "Oh yeah, he's doing okay." And I hated that. So it's like from a parent's perspective, I want to be like proud of the kid.
Yeah, I completely understand. But at the same time, there is part of you where it's like, I want to know that when I die, you're going to be all right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not going to be like you're fucked.
No, but that's what I mean. I want them to be doing something that's like, it's good. Like, you don't have to be making a lot of money, I suppose, as if you're doing something that you're truly passionate about. Like sustainability, for example. There's a lot of money in it now. There probably wasn't 15 years ago. But if you're doing that and you really care about that, I'd be proud of a kid doing that.
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
Chris comes from the old school. Fuck that shit,
No.
bro.
Suck it up.
Oil miners. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, that's so good.
I do get it from one perspective though, because imagine if you have a kid who's super happy but is asking for handouts all the time, and you're actually like, well, you're just not sufficient. Like you're not self-sufficient, I should say. Like you can't handle me not being here. You know what I'm saying? Like
I'd
that'd
be
be a
bloody
scary thing.
thrilled if I gave up work and just stayed here and lived off my parents and just spent my day drinking, eating shit, whatever.
I don't believe that. I feel
It sounds so luxurious.
It sounds
right now.
luxurious in theory, but you would get bored. You're an ambitious man, and I feel like you want to do something with your life, which you are doing things with your life. You work for a great company.
Thank you.
You're doing very well for
stop.
yourself.
as someone who's like an outsider to your guys' world, because I'm starting work next week actually. But I've
Congrats
been
to James.
fucking yes sir.
Oh, wrong one.
No, that was perfect.
Wrong one.
But as someone who's had like an abundance of time,
Yeah.
it's the whole grass is greener in every situation.
Yeah.
Like when you're working a lot, you're like, I'd love to have free time. But if you just had free time, you sit there and after the first 3 days, you're like, what do I do with myself? Like, how do I go to sleep feeling like I haven't been a fucking useless piece of shit all day? You know what I'm saying? And so it's one of those things that like there is, even though like working, you know, can be a grind, can be very stressful and stuff, but there is like, if you can get to the work-life balance where at a certain time you can clock off and just enjoy yourself and you know, like, I've done good today. You know what I mean? I feel like it's good for the soul as opposed to like when you're bumming around not doing anything. A lot of times days blend in together and you're like, shit, it's been a week and I haven't done anything valuable.
I think working full-time is going to change your life, and this is going to relate to a lot of people listening, whether in their high school or university. But the thing is, when you're in high school, university, you never really clock off. At the back of your mind, you've always got something to study for. You've always got an exam. When you finish work, you could, at least in the early stages of your career, you actually finish work. You don't have to think about it 24/7.
It depends what industry you're in, though.
That's true, but we're in very similar industries. So I feel like
professional services, you're always thinking about your clients
there's
and
always,
work, and there's always projects running that you can't switch off.
I just feel, at least for me personally, anecdotal, I feel like it's it's just to a lesser extent than it was in uni. Because in uni, I went super try hard. James will vouch for me. I didn't see this man for 6 months at one point. I did not leave the house. I studied 24/7.
He told us his monthly
Very
spending money
admirable.
1 month was $70.
Yeah.
$70 for a month.
Yeah, it was fucked.
It wouldn't even cover a gym membership. Like.
Yeah. I was dating someone at the time as well.
I know.
Yeah. It was very interesting.
Yeah.
But compared to uni, I would say the grass is greener when you start working full time.
Yeah.
It's tougher, it's exhausting, you have a lot of responsibility, but ultimately your life is so much better off.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And like everything, like studying extra can directly result in you doing better. Do you know what I'm saying? Like uni, I guess it does as well, but like uni is also very competitive when you're like when you're trying to go for a fucking high ranking grad role, that like just having a good fucking grade often isn't enough. Like
exactly.
you
so
meet
true.
all the introverts who just can't do interviews. But like once you're in a company and you've kind of established yourself, if you can become that guy, then suddenly you've got, like I was working at Siemens once, and there was this dude who was 30, but he had more respect than some of the fucking like proper heads of
like executives.
Yeah. I think that was, I can't remember, but like exactly. And it was one of those things where it's like he'd just from the jump been a fucking gun and like stayed the hours he needed to, and it got to the point where he was kind of like not Harvey Specter in terms that he's fucking all the baddest bitches. I think he was like a family man and stuff, but like he'd rock up at fucking 11, but he'd stay till 8 and no one gave a shit because like everyone knew when he's on the task it gets done, and like that, he had that like
It was reliable.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where it's like you start realizing like once you're in a workforce, at least within that company, maybe it's different when you try to jump to different fish tanks, but in that company, every time you stay back late and work on a project, there's a chance that people are going to recognize that.
Perception is everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
It really is.
It's
so
not how
important.
big you are, it's how big you look to someone else. You know what I mean? Like,
Would you agree, Aaron?
Yes, 100%.
Like that almost, like, of course, performance, but perception might make or break a promotion.
Yes. So I've got this friend at work. She was an absolute gun for the first, I'd say, year that she worked at my company. And ever since, she's kind of just been chill. She hasn't been working too hard, but people still think she's such a high performer, performing higher than all the senior consultants, purely because of her first year at my company. So I think like really establishing yourself in the like first impression thing is so important.
100%.
So yeah, completely agree.
You can turn it around though.
You can.
Yeah, you can.
That's
it's
what I've been
hard.
telling
It's much
myself.
harder if you can do it from the first time. That's preferable, but you can turn it around.
Yeah, agree.
kind of going off what we were talking before.
Yeah.
I'm curious to think if you guys could choose 3 attributes, whether it be, mental or physical or whatever, to add to yourself that would specifically increase success and happiness in life, what do you think that would be? Now, what I mean by that is if you say photographic memory, that might help your success, but that probably is going to deplete your happiness because every bad thing that's ever happened to you will remain in your head permanently. And one small trigger could fucking set back at a huge array of emotions that you otherwise may have been able to get over because they weren't fresh memories, So, and maybe we just do one because it might fucking take too long to think 3. But what do you guys think in terms of that?
You know what I think is the key to happiness?
What's that?
Removing comparisons.
12-incher.
Yeah. Removing the desire to compare yourself to others.
Ooh, good one.
Because that's something I'm very happy with where I am career-wise and where I work and what I do for a living and how much money I make for the moment. But sometimes I see on LinkedIn, other people who at the same age, they're investment bankers, for example. And then I have to remind myself, they've got no life. It's just, I don't want to compare myself to others and where they are at this point.
It's the great struggle that all, say the word great men, sounds like misogynistic, but you guys fucking get what I'm saying, go through. There was a famous time where Caesar was, I think it was in Rhodes, which is where rhetoric was invented, which is the art of arguments and stuff. And he was looking at a statue of Alexander the Great, and he was I can't remember the age, but it's at 18 he'd conquered the world, and at 18 I'm nothing.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where it's when you compare yourself to to greats of the past, or even just people around you, it's often like, because first of all, if you're better than them, then you're getting satisfaction through putting someone else down in your mind. And if you're worse than them, you're getting dissatisfaction by putting your own like self-image. So I definitely agree. Like the ability to just see who you are without like having to compare to others.
I'm terrible with that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But there
me
is a
too.
trade, like a comparison, they say is the thief of joy, whatever, but it also can sometimes motivate you, which is the tricky part.
That's what I was about to say.
trade-off.
Can you be ambitious without having the comparison there?
Yeah, exactly. It's hard.
Like it's one of those things where it's like if Caesar didn't have this fucking desire to go down in history, then like, and you can't really have that desire without having some level of, I don't know if you call it jealousy or like envy.
Like an ego-driven
exactly.
motivation.
You have to have some level of ego to be successful, but at the same time, like you're right. Fucking what's the comparison quote you just said?
Yeah, it's the thief of joy?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like it works very well in that sentence. So I get what's the alternative? You have like a good mixture of both, or you have the ability to shut it off in key situations, but you're still ambitious. Like
I think it's just finding that balance and comparing within like your own world.
here's a question:
Yeah.
Is ambition good?
Oh, I was actually going to ask a question similar to this as well. I personally love it, and I'm extremely attracted to it, which is not common, I feel, among guys.
You're attracted to it in women, do you?
Yeah, in women. I love ambitious women. I think ambition it definitely has its trade-offs because it could be the thing that makes you work 12-hour days and then forget to have a life. So it can be bad. Anything that's an extreme is bad. But I'd love to hear your perspectives.
I think I don't love ambition when it's centered around materialism.
Oh, okay.
So like ambition because I want a Ferrari or I want a yacht or I want this, because there's just been too many accounts of people feeling depressed with all that shit. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't like you often hear artists or like fucking celebrities talk about, maybe not celebrities like movie stars, but like let's say like singers, athletes, stuff like that. They talk about like some of the funnest times was on the come up.
Yeah.
So it wasn't when you're at the top, because it's lonely at the top,
Yeah.
they say. But it was when you're rising and when you're actually surpassing.
Businessmen
it.
say the same thing. They're like, is it about the win or the chase? And they're like, the chase is addictive. It's not about when you sign the bit of paper. It's the chasing that goes into that.
Exactly.
Yeah, we all love the chase.
So, yes, sir. I think what I like is, and it might be a bit of a corny answer, but like passion more than ambition. So like being, there's an overlapping area. You know, you might be so passionate about a certain subject that you're trying to be the best, but it's not necessarily you're using this one avenue to fulfill a different part of your life because you think that that's what's going to make you happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's more you're going after the thing you actually love it. So doing the work is the thing you love. It's not that you're doing the work to do something else. You know what I mean? Like,
I love that. That's such a great mindset.
That's all very lovely.
Yeah. Well, what's your opinion?
Without like burning unbridled ambition, civilization would never progress.
Very true.
And there are definitely people that have that ambition and they, I would say, not ruin their life, but they spend all of their life innovating and disrupting and building this industry and probably not enjoying their life very much and not enjoying their own wealth. But I mean, the world, the civilization, the industry, the world is a better place for it. So if we have to sacrifice a few people along the way, collateral damage.
but
It's like the Aztecs used to sacrifice virgins to the gods, was it, or something?
something like that, yeah.
This is the modern equivalent. Like sacrifice a few people so that civilization can go up a notch.
Then the conquistadors sacrificed the Aztecs to Jesus. You know what I mean? It's just all part of the fucking
Look at them now.
the circle of fucking, yeah. I would argue that those people aren't driven by material ambition though. They're driven by
They want to change the world.
Yeah, my name will be remembered.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I think like
Ego.
people who are driven by ambition, like have you watched Suits, Chris?
Yes.
So you're familiar with the Harvey Specter character,
Yes.
like that archetype.
Yep.
Reality is, I don't think he would be a character that would ever be remembered past, like aside from inside the company.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, unless I'm going to disagree purely because maybe not for like thousands of years, but for maybe a few hundred, because his name would be at the top of one of the biggest law firms. The law firms last. They tend to last. Actually, I'm not sure about names on law firms, but I know if your name's on the top of a big firm, it usually doesn't go away.
Aaron, what was the personal life of Price Waterhouse and Coopers?
PwC. Okay, so you don't know the people, but you know the last name.
There's a last name.
Yeah.
What does
It's
that
all
mean?
about the PR.
And it becomes, but think about it, it became not an acronym, but what the other version of an acronym. I'm pretty sure acronym is the one that's meant to be a word like radar, where it like stands for different things. Anyway,
Yeah.
like you know the phrase.
Yeah.
You don't know
Okay,
the
no,
people.
I understand what you're saying now. Okay.
So you might know that there was a guy named Spectre, but I think like when the reason why people, politicians tend to be remembered because usually they're the ones who have the most power to implement change and stuff. Maybe medical people, even medical people.
Yeah.
You know what I
Not
mean? Like
remembered,
Fred
yeah.
Hollows, I think he was the guy who helped Aborigines with cataracts and stuff like that. He was like the eye doctor. But like, unless you've seen those fucking commercials for the Flying Doctor, you're probably not. His name is going to eventually get wiped out. So you've got these people like fucking Caesar who like, I'm going to conquer a people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And even he might not have been remembered if Shakespeare didn't decide this is a pretty banging story. I'm going to jazz it up a bit and make a fucking play about it.
So these people are considered thought leaders.
Yeah.
And the way that they become thought leaders is because they have a good PR representation.
It is
Hey.
It's all about the publicity.
Caesar's a perfect example of PR because on his death, in his will, he said give every Roman citizen like 50 pieces of gold or some shit. So when all the senators killed him in the fucking like room in the Senate, that is a memorial. The senators are fucking arrogant people, so they're standing at the fucking thing. And one of the guys, Mark Antony's like, they're the people who killed you. And the people are chuffed at Caesar. They're like, yo, I got 50 fucking bucks because of this cunt. And then all of a sudden they're like, he killed the guy that's fucking so lit that he like saved, gave us all this money. Then they fucking chased the cunts out of Rome. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, that's so good.
It's a perfect trap door just in case you fucking try and neck me. You know what I mean? Like,
That's so interesting.
yeah, it is interesting how much in life comes down to PR. Like how the way we remember King Leopold II. He's a guy who fucking raped and pillaged the Congo, killed like 8 to 10 million people. But if you were talking about the most
What a
evil,
character.
well, in Belgium, up until like relatively recently, because he was a Belgian king or something, he was remembered as like not a martyr, but like a missionary. He was spreading Christianity through.
Yeah.
They weren't talking about how they'd say to the man, if you don't bring back 15 kilos of fucking rubber, I'll cut off your wife's hand. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't mentioned. But like, it's crazy to think that people don't, when they talk about the most evil men in history, they talk like Ted Bundy and like fucking Hitler. But his name, even though it's comparable numbers to fucking Auschwitz and like all the concentration camps, his name doesn't come up in the same way.
PR, man.
And it's just because he got ahead of it with the PR and suddenly recently we're like, hey, yo, this guy's a cunt, bro. He's done,
Yep.
You know what I mean?
So
Like,
I do want to return real quick on one thing because someone asked me to ask this question.
all right.
What are your thoughts on girls with ambition? Are you attracted to it? Because personally, I am. We talked about ambition, but I don't know if you guys are actually
Again,
attracted to it.
my big thing is passion. So it could be you want to be the best painter in the world. It doesn't necessarily come down to like success based on what like society might deem as that.
Right.
So if you're mad passionate about something, I can fucking rock with it.
Hell yeah.
But it's more like if you're like, I'm gonna work fucking 70 hours because I want a Louis Vuitton bag. I'm like, that's not attractive to me.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, again, materialism, like, even though everyone is a victim to materialism in some perspective, like, I just don't respect it as a pursuit. Like, someone saying, I'm going to get a Ferrari and then be happy, it's just retarded. Like, it's not how it works, you know?
I respect that perspective. What about you, Chris?
I respect the go-getter attitude. Like if you really, even if it's materialistic and it's very shallow, if you really want something and you actually have a plan that you can implement to get that thing, I respect the tenacity to actually
Yes.
follow through with that.
I love the drive.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I like.
I also should say, I think the way that the nuclear family was originally proposed is like a recipe for disaster. Because, yeah, meaning like the idea of the man goes out and works and the wife stays at home. Like there's a reason why in the 70s women were popping Valiums like they were fucking candy. Like most people, and not all people, some people are satisfied, but most people are not satisfied with a life of just looking after children and doing housework.
Agreed.
And then you have the whole issue where sometimes the wife is like, well, like, I'm not going to just cook dinner and baby for you. And then you have the whole argument like, well, if you don't do that, what are you actually doing? And I think it's good when both people are going out and getting things.
I think it's about control as well.
How do you-
like-
And in the man's perspective.
No, from the woman's perspective, like traditionally, the woman didn't really have a say in the lifestyle. The lifestyle was completely dependent on how successful the man was. And so if the woman really had ambitions or desires to have better things, to have a better life, she didn't have the ability to go and work for it or go and get it. It was all about whether her husband was performing high enough to sort of achieve that. So that lack of control would be very frustrating.
Yeah,
Yeah, 100%.
I completely agree.
And it just causes issues. But if you're both going out and getting it, the only issue is raising children, I guess.
Yeah.
And like my issue is I'm so fine with just using fucking childcare to
So am I.
solve
Get a
that
nanny,
issue.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm like, right, two, just let them go play. They'll make a bunch of friends. They'll be more social. you
That'll
know?
be right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basil's not. He's
Yeah,
not here
he's
to
very
voice his
against
opinion, but we all know he's very anti.
Bro.
I'm not gonna say the woman work, just like while the kid's being raised. Like he wants a mother figure.
I don't necessarily know that it adds heaps to their life.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it adds a lot to like, obviously the first 6 months, like it makes sense. You know what I mean? When they're babies, maybe even the first year, I don't know.
Yeah.
But like if you're trying to have a few kids, the idea that that won't drastically impact a woman's career is outrageous. Like,
Yeah.
I know, you know, we live in this world where we're meant to pretend like, no, when you take maternity leave, you come back and you're at the position you were, but 9 months with, you know, like it's not the way. When you have 9 months less experience, that becomes significant.
It does.
When you do that 3 times, that become like you have, you know, a year and a half, like without the same experience as someone else. So like the idea that it's just maybe even more if you take more leave or you go part-time at a certain point, like you're just not going to be at the same playing field as you were. And then suddenly there might be resentment within the woman because they're like, well, I took like, you know, the man's doing so much better than me now.
Yeah.
Because he's had all this time to like, you know, gain favor, get promotions, all this stuff. I don't know.
This is very real for me. This is a conversation that I'm having in my real personal life right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is landing pretty real.
Wait, what's your perspective on it?
I'm just an ongoing conversation, a negotiation, let's say, between my significant other and I.
Negotiation. I
Yeah.
like that. Not argument.
But are you on more of the
Negotiation.
side of like?
I'm
take time
more
off?
with Basil. I think it's very important for a woman to have a bit of time off after she has a baby to kind of bond with that child and set up the child for, because I think it's called the 4th trimester is like a few months after the child's born, I think, like their brain is still developing.
Sure.
And so the experiences that they have in the first few months shape their personality for the rest of their life.
So,
Right.
for context, how long do you reckon is a good amount of time for the woman to stay home? Like, because you want them to stay home, the child to develop with the mother. Like, how long would
From
you
a man's
ideally-
perspective, up until they start school.
Well, we ran into some issues. Last 10 minutes of the podcast decided just not to fucking record. So it's Jamo here signing you all off. Thanks for listening to the pod. If you want to hear our thoughts on the topic and have it continued on next week, we can do that. Maybe we can get Chris on again just to kind of finish off his perspective on all that. But yeah, thanks for fucking listening. Check out the Instagram and TikTok, obviously. Hit us up with a 5-star review on Apple and Google Podcasts. I think we're going to read them out next week. And yeah, cheers for sending it. The secret word for this week to test whether the other boys listen is Aaron likes lady boys more than Basil. So make sure to post that boy on the YouTube just to get them all a bit confused. You know, put them on their toes, make sure they're listening to the full episode. Anyway, have a good one, lads, and we'll see you next week.